Purple Hearts, to me, is a love story, but it's so much more than a love story. It's a story about two people, two hearts from opposite worlds, one red, one blue, who were raised to hate each other, who through the power of love, they come together and form a beautiful shade of purple. And if love can do this with two hearts, it's what the world needs now more than ever. It's a pretty unique love story. So essentially I play Cassie, who's this badass, fearless young woman who has this passion to fight against injustice, and she is, the daughter of an immigrant, a recently diagnosed type 1 diabetic who's buried in debt and can't afford the insulin that she needs to survive. Now, she lives in Oceanside, which is a military town in San Diego, and it's actually based on true stories of military couples that marry for health benefits because they're in such desperation. So she meets a Marine, and they really dislike each other, as you saw, yes. But they have to get married because they each need money for different reasons, and it's kind of our love story begins then, and they begin to fall in love after they've been married.
It's all you. Your fingerprints are all over this. You're in the soundtrack, you star in it, you're funny, you're awesome in it. It's the biggest thing. How do you feel?
I was talking to my mom the other night about all of this, and I realized that I can't find a word to describe how I feel. I'm just so overjoyed and overwhelmed and grateful, and I poured my heart and soul into this film, and for it to be loved by the world as deeply as I love making it is just incredible.
Some topics,
absolutely.
Some topics having to do with immigration, what it means to be an American, war, soldiers, and not holding the soldier accountable for what the soldier had. Why was it important to kind of get some of those messages? Because they kind of are woven in the entire movie.
Very much so. I mean, Cassie's unafraid to say exactly what she thinks when she thinks it, and she's having to fight her whole life for justice within the system. And as you know, TJ, I'm so passionate about using my voice and attaching myself to projects that can mean something to the world. So it was so important that this really did bring up some really important social political messages, like you mentioned.
How did it come about?
So about 5 years ago, I was shooting a show in Portland called Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionists. And my incredible director, Liz Allen, she approached me around Christmas time with a script, and she said, "Merry Early Christmas." And it said Purple Hearts. And it was a rough draft of this movie, and she said that she wanted to embark on this journey as more than just actor and director, but as partners and producers. And that's how the journey began. And 5 years later, after shooting the film, writing the soundtrack, producing it, here we are, and it's just been the most incredible journey.
You said that Cassie left a lasting impression on you. How so?
I feel so honored to play Cassie and to tell her story for so many reasons. Our story is a love story, but it's so much more than that. It's a love story with deeply important social political messages.
Like?
It's a story about two people from two different worlds, one red, one blue, who were taught essentially to hate each other. And through the power of love, they come together to form this, I guess, beautiful shade of purple. And the divided world that we live in, this feels like the message that we need to share.
Yeah.
Cassie is a type 1 diabetic, and it's highly underrepresented in media. And we talk about the healthcare crisis and the insulin crisis in this country, where young people can't access the insulin that they need to literally survive. And so I'm really proud to be a part of that conversation, the immigrant conversation. So many important topics that Cassie is so passionate about.
Sofia, how old are you, if you don't mind saying?
I just turned 29.
You just, see, I love this.
Amazing.
I love that under 30, you were already thinking outside the box and looking at the big picture. Because most of us got to know you through The Descendants.
Yes, absolutely.
What did starring in that franchise mean to you? That's how most people know you.
It changed my life. I was a college student at UCLA studying communications and international relations while, auditioning multiple times a week and writing songs. And Evie changed my life forever. It introduced me to this beautiful world, and I carry her with me in everything that I do, and I'm so grateful for her and to Disney for the opportunity.
Sophia, I loved your musical scenes, but I also really liked this quieter, smaller moments between the two of you. Like when he's about to be deployed and she's just looking around and taking it all in. It's just such a beautiful scene without any or much dialogue, really. So I'm curious for both of you, what are some of your favorite moments to play?
That was one of my favorite scenes. That was, I think, the second day of meeting each other and second day of shooting. And it was a really powerful scene because, like you said, not much needed to be said. Everything was told through Cassie's eyes and how her world was slightly shifting by stepping into this world for the first time, witnessing firsthand the bravery and the sacrifice of these young men. I think, of course, the Hollywood Bowl scene was memorable for me for many reasons. And there were, you know, Nick and I had some really great scenes, and we had to go to a lot of dark places together, and a lot of those were also really thrilling to go to.
For me personally, I think shooting in that incredible cemetery that we were in was just incredibly cathartic experience for me. Just super emotional, and I just felt very connected and earthed. But then, as Sofia says, you know, there was so many intense scenes that we relied on each other, which, you know, are extremely draining as an actor and as a person, but ultimately extremely gratifying if you feel like you've got something good at the end of the day. So we oftentimes left set extremely exhausted, but I feel like extremely fulfilled. Yeah, I'd have to say those are my favorite.